For years, if you were looking for a large and luxurious three-row crossover from BMW, you were forced to look elsewhere. I mean, sure, they've always offered a third row in the X5 for years, but that vehicle's always been considerably smaller than its main rivals from Cadillac, Mercedes-Benz, and Lincoln, which is why I'm standing by the biggest SUV that BMW has ever made. This is the late-to-the-party 2019 X7, and to find out if this X7 is any good, I'm just outside of Seattle, Washington with the members of the Automotive Video Association for our annual spring run event. But the big question I want answered, does the all-new X7 have what it takes to be the best in the segment? That's what we're here to find out. So to say that the X7 was a much needed vehicle in their lineup is a huge understatement. Dealers, consumers, everybody's been asking BMW for a bigger SUV over the X5 for years, and it took the company far too long to come out with the X7, but we'll see if it was actually worth the wait. Now, the first thing I want to address is the elephant in the room. These really big kidney grills. This is the biggest twin kidney grills that BMW has ever put on a car, and honestly, all the memes online show this thing next to Winifred Sanders, the movie Hocus Pocus, the witch that had the two big buck teeth. Honestly, I do see the resemblance, but I have to admit, it's kind of growing on me. In person, it is very stunning, and it's much more interesting looking than the Mercedes-Benz GLS or Audi Q7. You can see my tester, being the V8 model with the executive package, has the BMW LED headlights with their laser light technology. You can see the laser lights basically project a light into a mirror that is kind of a dumbed down version of the full laser lights you get in Europe, because America has stupid laws with headlights. But BMW says these headlights will basically extend much farther at night. I'll have to drive the vehicle at night at some point to actually see if that's the case. You do have LED fog lights here at the lower fascia, and then my tester has the M Sport package. So you have this much more aggressive front end with this mineral white exterior color with the piano black accents, this big air intake scoops down here at the lower fascia. I think it looks fantastic, actually, especially in the white color. It really will start to grow on you when you guys see this thing in person. I know it's a little bit much at first, but I promise you, you might start to actually like the vehicle with some time. Now, the X7 is big. BMW is very proud of the fact that this is about 9 inches longer than the X5 back there at 203 inches long. This is longer than the Mercedes-Benz GLS and about the same size as a Cadillac Escalade, the short wheelbase version, but it's about 7 inches shorter than a Lincoln Navigator, the new one. Its wheelbase at 122 inches long is also roughly the same size as the Mercedes-Benz GLS class. So this has the proportions it needs to compete with the American segment and also give you the space on the interior, which we'll talk about in just a moment. Now, my tester as well, because it's the M Sport line, has a $1,300 option for the wheels. These are 22-inch wheels. I know, 22-inch wheels wrapped in 275 40 series tires. It has the M Sport brakes on it for like another $650 that gives you the blue painted calipers, which look so good with this white color. I think the wheels are probably my favorite aspect of this X7. If you're going to get this car, get those wheels because it really just looks fantastic. Now, of course, being the fully loaded model and the flagship of the lineup, it's got an adjustable air suspension. At its standard height, this has about 8.7 inches of ground clearance. You can also adjust it up to give you another 2 inches of ground clearance. So you could get almost 11 inches of ground clearance on this car, or you could also lower it to help short people get into the vehicle, which is, again, an important aspect of a family car. Now, at the rear of the X7, you can see the design is definitely different from what we've seen BMWs in the past. The new X5 kind of has a similar look to this. It's got this chrome strip that kind of connects the two taillights together. They're a full LED taillight. You have a nicely integrated exhaust, which actually, it's just a dual rectangular tip, but it's actually a quad outlet if you actually look at the mufflers. I'll let you guys hear what that V8 sounds like really quick. And of course, being the V8 model, it definitely has a much nicer growl versus the 6. I'd argue that the 6 is a little bit smoother, but the enthusiasts are going to really like the V8. It makes the vehicle quicker. The rest of the underbody area here, you can see it's got some more gray plastic cladding. It has kind of like a rear diffuser over here because of the M Sport. Overall, it definitely doesn't look bad. Now, just like the X5, the X7 will have a 2-piece rear liftgate, and a power liftgate is going to be included. When you want to open up the tailgate, you can see it's got 2 areas here. I like this portion here. They took a page out of Land Rover as well, although BMW has been doing this on the X5 for years. So you can basically use this to sit on, or you can use it kind of like as a table when you're loading and unloading stuff. And I even noticed the tonneau cover over here even tells you it's an X7, and it's kind of wrapped in the same Alcantara that's all over the roof panel of this vehicle. That's definitely part of the upgraded interior leather that my tester has. Now, I had a little trouble finding some actual cargo number specifications for this vehicle. BMW says if you fold down all the seats, you get around 90 cubic feet of space, which is definitely good. It's not quite as much as what you get in the Lincoln Navigator. Underneath here, you can see there is a nice little storage area where you can actually put your tonneau cover and whatnot. And all the seats are power adjustment, which means if you want to actually fold them down, they're controlled via these buttons over here. For example, if I just hit the max button over here, it takes a second. It actually will release the seats, and it'll fold down the second row, or the third row here, which BMW says gives you around 50 cubic feet of space with the third row folded down. Now, if you guys want the captain's chairs like what my tester has, those do not fold flat. Instead, when you have it in a max mode, they'll kind of just push forward. So I don't think it actually has 90 cubic feet of space. You have to probably get the bench seats to actually get them to fold flat. So just keep that in mind if you guys are actually planning to use this thing for either carrying cargo or carrying more people. So while the outside of the new X7 definitely looks modern and imposing, the interior of this 3-row luxury crossover is going to be the more important aspect with buyers. The first thing I want to talk about, and this is something that I've never had a chance to show you guys before, is the key fob for this vehicle. This has the company's display key. It's like a $350 option. It is a gigantic key that gives you a nice little screen here on the actual key fob itself. In addition to traditional buttons and whatnot, this key is, you can charge it remotely from the car, or you can plug it into like a USB-C port, whatever. It's a fairly large key. I just don't know if it's something like this is necessary with everyone kind of moving to and using your phone as a key. BMW also says you could do that through their app system, but they also wanted to give you this like separate option here for the key. You can see it gives you like a status symbol if the car is locked, if the windows are shut. You can also adjust the control of the air suspension over here. Like I can lower it if I wanted to. Oh my God, that is so cool. You can literally see it lowering right now to help short people get into the car if you guys want to lower the suspension, because remember, I have the active air suspension in this car. That's pretty cool. Of course, you have to sit there and wait for it to actually lower. You can literally hear it, but it's like sitting there on its bump stops. That's pretty cool. And then you can hit the back button there. It'll show you your vehicle information. It'll show you if the lights are on. It'll show you your range, how much gas this thing has. That's cool. Or you can also precondition the system here with your climate controls. That's something like remote start. So that's something that's very cool. This key though is pretty massive. But as you approach the door handle of the X7, you're gonna notice the door handles here have this little button on the side. If you just touch that button, it's not really a button, just a pad. That'll lock the doors. If you wanna unlock it, you just have to touch the back of the handle, and that will unlock the doors for you. This is actually the area that you touch to lock the doors. You can see the mirrors will electrically fold and whatnot, and then just touch the back of the handle, and that will unlock the doors for you. Now, my tester has an optional leather interior that's blue. That's the full merino leather or something like that. It's like a perforated leather. It's like really soft leather. It's $3,500 extra for the leather in this interior, which definitely looks good. You can see it includes full leather everywhere on the dashboard, on the even lower part of the door panels over here, on the rest of the dash. The carpet even looks really nice. I like the floor mats with the two-tone look, with the two-tone on the seats. You have suede Alcantara on the ceiling. So this is their flagship SUV, and it really shows the moment you open the interior of this new X7. I'm really impressed, if I'm being honest. BMW has really done a good job with the interior of this new X7. Now, because I had the suspension lowered, it's really easy to get in and out of the vehicle, and you can raise the suspension up if you'd like, and then when you want to shut the door, you don't even have to slam it. It has soft closing doors. So again, really nice. You don't have to be bothered to slam the door, but if you did slam it, what does it sound like? Sounds really solid, so didn't really expect anything less. This is the company's cluster platform. It's an all-new architecture. Now, if you want to charge this display key here, you can see this massive key. You actually just sit here and you just put the key right in this little area down here. You can see the key faces down and it fits in that little slot over there. It even shows that it's charging, so you don't have to worry too much about charging the actual key fob. When you want to start the vehicle up, you can see my tester has the glass control, so you have a crystal glass shifter here for the iDrive controller, for the shifter, and for the start stop button, and for the volume knob there. It just looks really expensive. I love it. And my tester has the 4.4 liter twin turbocharged V8. This is the biggest engine, the best engine you can get in the X7 for now. Whew. It sounds really good. It's a lovely noise. You have to give BMW credit there. Now you can see it's got two 12-inch displays here that are standard on this vehicle. You've got a 12-inch customizable display here in the center stack. You've got their 12.3-inch display for their iDrive command controller interface system here. And it also has wireless Apple CarPlay, which you can see I've got activated right now. You don't even need to plug the phone in. Instead, it just is activated wirelessly. BMW was one of the first to do that. Now, keep in mind, you do have to pay for the Apple CarPlay in this vehicle. It's a subscription plan that you have to pay monthly. I hate BMW for doing that. It's just adding insult to injury because this is a luxury brand. They want to charge you extra for everything. But you can see here, this is a touchscreen now, so that's really lovely. If you want to pull up Waze, just go over there and click on Waze. It'll pull up Waze onto the GPS system, which is, again, a really nice feature. If you want to go back to the BMW system, this is going to take me some time, so I'm going to come back to this. But let me talk about the interior materials really quick. You can see all of this has really beautiful stitched leather on the upper portion. This is part of that upgrade package that my tester has for $3,500. It's all stitched leather on the door panels, real metal trim. The windows, they just feel really nice. You can see they're a double paned glass here, so this is a very quiet vehicle as well, which is important when you've got the flagship of their SUV lineup. The window even itself even feels and sounds nice when you close it. You have all these buttons over here for your power mirror controls, your power liftgate open. You've got two-person memory seats. You can also activate the massage seat function from over here, which is part of a $1,200 option my tester has. This is nice and padded over here. It's nice and stitched leather down here with some good storage. To be honest, BMW did a really good job. You can see there's a few buttons over here for the headlight controls. Your dimmer switches over there. There's some really beautiful real wood grain. And then my tester, of course, has a power tilt and telescoping steering wheel with a heated wheel function. There's a lot of buttons over here for their Driver Assistance Pro package, where you can see the adaptive cruise control, the active lane keep assist, the traffic jam assistance. The one thing you're probably noticing, there is actually a camera back here. You see right here? This is a camera just like Cadillac Super Cruise, very similar to it, where it's watching my face. This car offers traffic jam assistance where it'll actively drive hands-free for you at speeds below 40 miles an hour. So it's not quite as, good as Cadillac Super Cruise, where it gives you high speed ability, but BMW system has these LED lights here in the center of the steering wheel. This will turn green or orange depending on whether the system is active, whether you're looking at the road or not. You can see assisted driving mode, or you can also just go back to distance control, which is adaptive cruise control, or the assisted driving mode where it's actually steering for you, which I'll show you guys that later on in the test drive. It's a brilliant system. BMW has really upped their technology in that regard. Down here you can see the dashboard design is very typical BMW. You've got a nice volume knob here, a tuning button, no knob. You've got 5-zone automatic climate control in this vehicle. That's what I said, 5 zones. So you've got basically the driver has their own zone, the passenger has their own zone, each of the rear passenger has their own zone, and then the third row has their own zone. So again, that's a very, very cool. I haven't seen that before in any other car. I imagine a lot of brands are going to be copying that system as well. If you want to go to their individual, the intelligent safety here, this button here will activate all the driver assistance stuff, where you can customize everything here. You can turn it all on or you can turn it all off. So that's something that's pretty cool. This over here controls the heated and cooled seats. You can basically push either button and it'll remember your last setting, or you can also just change it to go to the ventilated seats, or you can turn on both at the same time if you'd like to do that. So again, BMW is kind of going the way of the rest of their brands. The automatic climate control, I like how there's a separate screen here that shows where, what temperature you have it set to. I like that it's a separate screen, so I don't have to keep looking onto this screen over here. Instead, it's just always there. And if you turn it off, whenever you turn it off, you can see it'll just completely black out the screen. So that's really nice. Down here, you can see actual hard buttons here for your presets, which is really nice. Wasn't expecting that. You can see there's also a nice lid that'll cover this up if you guys have your phone here, or you can put the key to charge there, or you can put your phone there. It's got wireless charging. It has heated and cooled cup holders. Super cool. Love that. It's an extra, of course, to get heated and cooled cup holders. I really want to try that out to see if it actually keeps your drinks cool. You can see there is a regular key for the car as well. which this one has, but you can also have the display key. So it's got really 2 key fobs. This is the standard BMW key you've seen on the other vehicles. Over here you can see the controller for their iDrive controller. You have all these dedicated shortcut buttons. Home, of course, will take you back to the BMW home screen. And if you don't want to use this iDrive controller, which is nice, you can just use the touchscreen, which is really great as well. It has their gesture controls. So if you want to go to media, for example, and we go to
QFC, love fresh, love
the radio setting, if you want, I can use my hand here. I can turn the volume up, or I can skip music by going like that, where I can go through the presets. I haven't actually set my presets, so that's why it's not working, but it's a pretty cool gimmick. BMW has refined their gesture control over the years, so that's really nice. I really think iDrive is one of the best in the business. I love the screen clarity as well. It's just a beautiful looking screen. It's very fast, it's very snappy. We like the Apple CarPlay, of course, which is wireless. BMW was one of the first to do that. When you want to use the actual regular GPS, you can see here's the standard GPS system that BMW does. It's a really nice map. You can see, wow, look at that. It's very quick, and it shows a really beautiful like rendition of like Google Earth, like BMW's version. It even shows traffic, of course. You kind of expect that in a vehicle like this. The home screen, again, will show you all your usual stuff over there. So this system has so much to show. It has a very steep learning curve. I myself need to spend a little bit more time with using it, but just at a glance, I'm overwhelmed with all the technology this vehicle offers. Now, of course, down here, you have even more buttons. When you put the vehicle into reverse, you have a 360 camera, which is actually optional, but it's included on this particular one. It has automatic parallel parking as well if you need to find a parallel parking spot. That's very important. And then over here, this controls the 8-speed automatic transmission with that crystal glass shifter. It looks beautiful. It's got paddles on the wheel. This adjusts your drive modes, of course. You can toggle the drive modes between Sport, Eco Pro, Comfort, Adaptive, and whatnot. So that's something that you kind of expect in something like this. You have all these individual buttons here to turn on the parking sensors, the auto start stop and whatnot, and the stability control off switch. I'm going to go back over there and show that. Over here, you can see this controls your air suspension. You can adjust the ride height. 5 different modes. Right now I'm pushing it up to the highest setting. You can see the car even shows on the screen what it looks like on the outside when you're raising and lowering the air suspension. You have your electronic parking brake over here. This is a nice padded area here where you would rest your elbows, and then opening this up, you can see a nice storage area as well. There's a light in there. You can see there's a USB-C charging port in there. The seats, I think they're so comfortable. I love the massage function of these seats, which, by the way, I'm going to go over here to the massaging option. And you can see here, you can change your levels of massage. So you can go to up to 3 different levels of massage. You can change the actual type of massage. Right now I have it on a lumbar massage. You can do an upper body massage. You can do a whole body massage. So it actually has a massage on the lower seat back and on the seat bottom cushion. So that's very cool. You really don't expect anything less when you've got a BMW like this. It's their highest level. This one also has the Bowers & Wilkins sound system for $6,000. It definitely has the sound quality that I expect for that kind of money, although it doesn't have any speakers that raise up, which surprised me. There's some nice metal speakers here, and I love the Alcantara headliner. The glove compartment, you can see, I'm surprised it doesn't open electro-hydraulically, but it's actually deep. It's a good size. It's damp. It's lined with felt. It even smells expensive in here. I'm blown away with this interior. BMW has really outdone themselves with this interior quality. It also feels roomy, and you can see it out of it well. But overall, the inside is going to seriously wow you. There's a lot of technology that you're going to have to learn, but once you do learn it and get used to it, it's kind of hard to go back to any other more conventional car. So while the front seats of this vehicle are very nice, when you get into the second and the third row seats of this car, which we'll get into the third row in just a moment, you're going to realize that this is definitely the 7 Series of their SUV lineup. First of all, shutting the door, it sounds nice, but it also has that soft close function just like the front seat, so you don't have to even slam the doors. Now, getting back here, I've got the $600 option for the captain's chairs. Honestly, I probably would just go for the bench because it lowers the seating capacity of this car to 6 versus 7, because you can't actually fit 3 across in the third row, which I'm a little surprised that BMW is not doing that considering how big this vehicle is. Now, in terms of the space, BMW says there's around 37.5 inches of legroom in the second row, which honestly, it could be a little bit more, but it does offer a good amount of space. The seats themselves, they are power adjustable, which is nice. You also get heated seats back here in the second row with the availability of a cooled function, although I don't believe my tester has the cooled function. It's got an empty button over here So that must be part of an option that my tester is missing. You do have 5 levels of automatic climate control. So you have your own climate setting here. I have another climate setting here, and then there's another climate setting in the back. So that's this 5-zone climate control. My tester also has the rear seat entertainment system, which is pretty cool. It basically mimics what you get in the front of the iDrive system, where you can kind of control what you'd like. You can also play movies back here and whatnot. It looks like there's basically a tablet that's stuck to the screen. This is about $2,500. Could be a good option if you guys have kids and you want them to shut up on long road trips. You do have 2 cup holders over here. You have 2 USB ports. You can see your audio ports over here, your USB, and you've got an HDMI port over there, which is all really cool. Your headphone jacks are over there, which is nice. Now above me, I've got this very large panoramic sunroof, which I love. It also has that feature where I showed you guys in the new 7 Series, where you can change the LED lighting that's actually in the roof to kind of make this thing feel like a nightclub. They kind of took something like that from Mercedes. The rest of this interior, you can see there's some really nice Alcantara on the ceiling of this vehicle that really makes it feel even more luxurious. And then when you settle back into this seat, this headrest, it's like a pillow. It's so soft. I've never felt a headrest that's so soft, and it's really, really a cool detail that they included, which I really wasn't expecting. There are armrests, of course, that fold down, that go out of the way, and you can also kind of adjust the armrest here if you guys have really strange length arms and whatnot, but it's nice and padded again, so if you want to just fold them down, just kind of push them up and then push them out of the way. But overall, the second row, it's a really nice place to spend time. A lot of people may actually be fighting to sit in this seat over the front seats, but the big test with these vehicles, the third row, so let me hop back there and show you guys the space. So when you want to get into the third row of the new X7, BMW makes it relatively easy, although I will say the power seat makes it a little bit slower versus something that kind of has like a manual seat where it's a hydraulic movement. To do it, you just kind of pull on this plastic lever here, flip the seat forward, and then it'll automatically push the seat forward. Now, if this front seat is too far back, it'll also automatically push it forward. You can see it kind of lifts the seat up a little bit and kind of pushes it out of the way to reveal a very good amount of space when you want to get back into the third row. And you can see there's a lot of plush carpeting. The seats themselves only seat 2, as I said, so this is limited to up to a 7-passenger vehicle. Now, BMW says this is comfortable for somebody up to 5'10". I'm 5'7". Let me get back here to show you guys the space, and I have to say, this is actually really nice. I have the second row here slid all the way back, and this is very comparable to the last Kia Telluride that I was in. I know those vehicles don't really compete. However, you have to admire BMW for at least getting the third row right. This has more space than a lot of the competition. It's really on par with the Lincoln Navigator, which I had as the benchmark. Now, a couple of features in here that I'm noticing, there is a sunshade area here, our sunroof that lets in some light. I've never seen that in the third row before. BMW even gives you your own set of climate controls back here, and you have heated seats in the third row. That's a first. I've never seen heated rear seats. Mercedes just introduced that in the new GLS that was just shown in the New York Auto Show earlier this month. Now, you would think with third row seat passengers, you're also skimped in terms of the quality of the materials, and that's not the case. You can see, look at this, leather stitching here on the actual door panel, or on the panels here. There's even soft, squishy leather over here. There's a cup holder, really soft leather here, really high quality carpet. And then BMW actually gives you a USB-C dongle over here, or port. It's actually on both sides of the second row. It's just really nice. It's a really nice place to spend time. So if you want to actually put adults back here, as long as they're under 6 feet, they're going to be pretty comfortable in the new X7. So underneath the hood of the biggest SUV that BMW makes, you're probably expecting some very powerful engines. And I have to say, the base motor is a 3-liter straight 6 turbo engine. I know, right? A 6-cylinder turbo in something this big, but thankfully it makes 335 horsepower, 330 foot-pounds of torque. That's a different review because I have the motor that most of you are probably going to want if you guys plan to actually tow or carry a lot of people. This is the company's 4.4-liter twin turbocharged V8 engine. It's the same motor that's in the M550i, and it makes 456 horsepower in this application and 479 pound-feet of torque. Now, it all goes out through an 8-speed ZF transmission, which is, you know, one of the best transmissions in the industry. And if you guys get the tow package, it'll tow a maximum of 7,500 pounds. So very competitive numbers. And it's really going to move out this big boy with authority if you guys get this out on the road. Now, fuel economy is actually a little bit thirsty when you guys go for the V8. The 6-cylinder will do like 20 in the city, 25 highway. This drops it down to 17 in the city and 21 on the highway. So again, it's a little more thirsty. You better make sure and put premium gas in this thing. And because it's so big, it's pretty heavy. This thing, as it sits, weighs around 5,900 pounds. If you guys go for the 6-cylinder, it's about 200 pounds lighter. But with this V8, the 8-speed auto, with their xDrive all-wheel drive system is standard. Let's get it out on the road and see how it performs. So first, setting off in the biggest vehicle, the biggest SUV that BMW has ever made. Now, to put the size of this vehicle into perspective, this is actually 2 inches longer than a short wheelbase BMW 7 Series. The 7 Series, if you get the long wheelbase model, is about a couple inches longer than this, but I mean, it's still at 203 inches long. This is a big vehicle, and it's the size SUV that BMW has needed for years. It's a really, really good fit for the American market. Now, with this 8-speed automatic, BMW says it has launch control. So let's try it out really quick. Turn off the stability control, floor the accelerator. Oof. Wow, you wouldn't expect something that's this fast to, or this heavy to feel that quick when you put your foot down, but it definitely does. I mean, this thing weighs almost 6 tons, but it will really surprise you. Oh, it's practically, it feels like it's almost like an M. It's like an M Lite, basically, with the way this thing sounds. You gotta love the V8. BMW does a fantastic V8, and they do say 0 to 60 for this V8 model will take about 5.2 seconds. The 6-cylinder actually isn't that far off. That's like 5.8 seconds, so I was expecting it to be under, 5 seconds for the V8, but I feel like BMW is being a little conservative with their numbers there. Now, most of you who buy something like this, you're not going to be driving, like a crazy person unless you want to make your kids laugh. But when you're driving it normally, let's put it into its comfort setting here, because with an adjustable air suspension, you can feel that the steering gets nice and light. The suspension also gets softer. The ride quality gets softer. The exhaust also gets a little bit quieter. So this is the setting that most people are probably going to have the car in anyways, because, I mean, hey, it's supposed to be a family car. You're not supposed to be driving this thing like a jerk all the time. The visibility also is not bad. You can see it's got a good view out of the front. It really reminds me of the last X5 that I drove. The side mirrors could be a little bit bigger considering how large this vehicle actually is. The view out of the back is good, although the headrests are kind of in the way. You can fold those down on the rear seat if you'd like, if they do get in your way. But I mean, overall, I'm just really enjoying this. I love the fact that I'm sitting here getting a massage. My seat is getting cooled. It's so quiet in here. That double paned glass, you can really tell is making a difference because this vehicle is so quiet on the inside. The only really hints of noise you're going to hear is just from the engine, occasionally making some of those nice burbles and whatnot when you put the vehicle, in drive. But this is a BMW. We have to try the acceleration once again. I'm not going to do the launch control this time. I'm just going to floor it instead. A little soft. Initially, it's a little soft, so you do need to use the launch control if you want this thing to kind of really give you the shove. Remember, it's a twin-turbo V8, and it does take a little bit of time for the turbos to spool up, which is why BMW has the launch control. This 8-speed automatic, I have no complaints with it. It's one of the best transmissions in the industry. Really just super responsive every time I put my foot down in this car, which is really important with a vehicle like this. I mean, if this thing was going to tow 7,000 pounds of mass behind me, I would easily be comfortable doing it, because this car is so big, it's so stable, it's so comfortable. And when you put it into sport mode here, it hasn't forgotten that it's a BMW. The steering actually is heavier than the new X5 that I drove, maybe because this one has the M Sport package on it. But I mean, check this out. Holy crap, this thing really hugs the roads and the curves like a big SUV shouldn't do. I mean, this out-handles the Lincoln Navigator easily. Much better to drive than the Cadillac Escalade, and more fun to drive than the last Mercedes-Benz GLS that I drove. Which all of those vehicles, they're soft and comfortable, which is what you want them to be. The BMW is also soft and comfortable when you want it to be, but when you put it into a sport and you kick all the passengers out, you can have some fun with this thing on a back road, especially when you guys go for the V8 model. So really, BMW has outdid themselves. They really took their time with this new X7, and it seriously shows in all the features. And you're going to be paying a pretty penny for this car, but it works really nicely and as a whole vehicle when you live with this thing on a day-to-day basis. Now, it does have the advanced driver assistance package, so BMW basically says it has their active traffic jam assistance. When you turn the system on, you can see that camera watches my face. It shows a green steering wheel icon here. This is supposed to allow you to drive at low speeds, hands-free, but you're supposed to still keep your hands on the wheel. But you can see the system itself does a very good job of actually steering the vehicle, keeping it centered in the lanes, which is good. But it's not Cadillac's Super Cruise system, although it has the camera that watches my face. I feel like it's it's a software update away from being just as good as the Super Cruise. It follows the road almost as well as Tesla's autopilot, but BMW has really been upping their technology factor there. So their driver assistance package, I'd highly recommend it if you guys are going to be constantly stuck in traffic with this car. It works a lot better than all the other systems. And really, I have very few faults with this car, aside from the high price tag, which we'll talk about as we get to the end of this video. So even though BMW has an extensive offering of SUVs here in America, they were actually missing one crucial vehicle, and that's the 2019 X7. They didn't have a large SUV to go head-to-head with something like a Cadillac Escalade, a Lincoln Navigator, and a Mercedes-Benz GLS. And after driving the all-new 2019 X7, you can easily tell that BMW took their time with this vehicle. I mean, they took like 10, 15 years to actually introduce something like this, but it really shows in the way this vehicle drives and feels. Now, first of all, the interior is a wonderful place to spend time. You can actually carry full-size adults. It's in a seriously luxurious and tech-filled environment. The third row can actually carry full-size adults. The second row is just as nice as the front seats, and you have all the tech, all the luxury, all the technology features that will seriously wow a lot of your passengers and justify the huge price tag that BMW charges for this thing. The V8, as you guys heard, is seriously fast. It makes great noises. The vehicle accelerates with authority. It really compares favorably to the last Lincoln Navigator that I drove, blows out the old Mercedes-Benz GLS out of the water until I drive the all-new version, which will be out later this year. The old version is still the only one that you can purchase at this moment. Now, if you guys are looking to actually buy one of these X7s, what's it going to cost? Well, as you expected, she ain't cheap. This car starts at $75,000 for the base six-cylinder version of this car. Now, that actually is very competitive with something like the Lincoln Navigator or the Cadillac Escalade, which costs around $75,000 as well. Mercedes-Benz GLS, the old one, starts at $70,000. So this is a little bit more expensive, but I would easily pay for that. This is more expensive than something like the Audi Q7 or the Volvo XC90, but the BMW is bigger than both those vehicles, and it is more luxurious. Offers a few more tech features. Now, of course, being the V8 model that this one is, it starts at $92,500, which is, I know, a lot more money, but you get a V8. It comes very well equipped. And my tester, of course, being a BMW, has a crap ton of options on it, from the convenience package to the premium package to the executive package to the driver assistance package, the 22-inch wheels to the M Sport package. Ooh, it's a long list of options. As this one sits, it stickers for just over $120,000, which I know is a lot of money for this car, but a Lincoln Navigator is also going to cost you around six figures. And I would argue that I find the BMW to be a little bit more desirable. Love the V8 noise. I like the handling aspect of it more. It's not quite as soft and squishy as the Lincoln, but it doesn't sacrifice the comfort in the name of the sport. But I hope you guys have enjoyed my full overview on this 2019 BMW X7. If you're also looking to see the latest cars I'm testing, be sure to follow me on Instagram at redline_reviews. Like us on Facebook, and as always, guys, please keep subscribing to the Redline Reviews YouTube channel for all the latest reviews. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you all in the next video. The rest of this interior, you can see there's some really nice Alcantara on the steering wheel. The headrest over here.
It's not a steering wheel. Again, not a steering wheel.
Ceiling.
Just say there's some really nice.
There's some really
Have your hand up there though.
Okay.
Already.
You have a cup holder over here, and then if you lift up this little area right here. Don't show that. Where is that little part right there that shows